Yeah. Well, on to the next one. Florida, Tampa.
This one's fun.
This one is going to be fun. Yeah. Right off the bat, I think I give it to Florida. I don't count out Tampa, but I think the Florida Panthers, like, just they have so much going for them. Like the offense they have, their defensive play has been great. They're getting really good goaltending.
They have two really good goaltenders.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, no matter who they put in net, they're getting good results. They just, and you watch, like, when they played the Leafs a few nights ago, they were out there trying to kill them. Like, I had friends who were at that game and they were in Florida and they were just like, I don't want these two teams to play in the playoffs. Like, someone's gonna die.
Clearly, the Leafs didn't want to either, because
no, clearly,
like, maybe we should just lose.
Yeah, maybe we should play the Bruins. But anyway, we'll get to them in a minute. But for me, I mean, I don't know. You just look up and down the lineup in Florida, and you just see so much to like. In so many different ways too. Like, it's not like they're all just loaded with skill. It's not like they're all just loaded with physical guys. They do everything.
They're
right?
Universally good is what they are. They're universally good.
Guys who can, and defensively, like, they've guys who are getting just really good results. You know, they're not like Montour and Forsling have been really good, but the rest of them, they're just solid. And in a good way. Yeah. So I think they're like 3 lines deep up front. They've got a strong defensive group. Their goaltending has been great this year. And with Tampa, I think it'll be close. But I just look at Tampa's roster and I like Anthony Duclair has fit in really well there.
He rocks there, man. I was so right about him. Good. I don't care what anybody says. I was right about that.
Now, Daily Faceoff doesn't have Victor Hedman listed. I imagine he'll play.
Yeah, he was just sitting out the last couple of games here.
But the rest of their defensemen, like, I'll run them down that are on Daily Faceoff. Emil Martinson-Lilleberg, Nick Perbix, Eric Chernak, Matt Dumba, and Calvin DeHaan, and Darren Radish. Like, those are the guys who played the other night. But the only defenseman that could come in is Victor Hedman. And I don't feel nearly as optimistic about that against a 3-line deep Florida team.
It's almost 4, honestly. Like, and their fourth line's good too.
Yeah. Like, they're just, I think, like, Vasilevsky's been not quite himself this year. Like, he's been okay recently, but not really, Andre Vasilevsky, right?
But he might be just saving it too, right? Like, that's the other thing.
Maybe.
When you've won so much, it doesn't matter in the regular season for these guys. I think this series, I'm leaning Florida for sure. But I don't think Tampa's out of it by any means. Like, I think this is going to be a close series. No. I think this series is going to have the most penalty minutes by far. I think these two teams are going to go nuts. We're going to see like ejections every single game potentially. Like, I think it's going to be crazy. I am so looking forward to tuning into this series because I think the power play is going to matter so much more in this series. And both these teams have outstanding power plays and outstanding penalty kills. Yeah. And that's going to be fantastic. I think. Yeah. So going back to the win conditions, because I think this is a good thing to mention when we talk about these series. For Tampa, they're going to have to break through the penalty kill of Florida quite a bit because that's where they do a lot of their damage. And Andre Vasilevsky is going to have to be a monster. He's not going to have to be the most insane goalie. Like, he's not going to have to carry the team fully like an Ilya Sorokin or Semyon Varlamov will for the Islanders, but he's going to have to be at his very best in order for them to win.
He's going to need to be resilient too. Like, that's the other thing I would say. Like, they're going to crash the net on him. They're going to go out.
They're going to run him.
They're going to run him. They're going like he's going to need like they're going to try to bash pucks in under his pads when he's covering them. Like, he's going to need to be just a rock, right? Like, that's really the thing, because that's how Florida does it, right? Like, a lot of the guys, they
frustrate you.
But they're just frustrating, and then their counterattack is just so good, and like, they just get in your face, and it's pretty crazy. I mean, Tampa was a significantly better team over the last month than Florida, but I don't know. I don't think it really matters at the end of the day. Like, I think when you get into the playoffs, it's just you set it all aside and you just kind of go out and play. And when I look at the Panthers play, they're scary, man. Like, they're a scary team, literally, like, both in terms of scoring, but also just they kind of remind me a little bit of like Vegas last year, where Vegas just was maybe, they had some skill in their team. They were a really good team, obviously, but like it was a lot of well-rounded physical offense,
right?
like
that, but they weren't. I don't think they were nearly as physical as Florida are.
No, they weren't. Right.
Like I honestly think, like I still think Florida is going to win the cup. That's kind of where my mind is at the moment. So obviously, I'm going to pick them to win this series. But I would say the confidence level is more at like a 68% because Tampa's still pretty good. They're not a team that you can be that can be taken lightly. And even that's a pretty high confidence level, I think.
Yeah.
Especially considering it's the NHL playoffs, or rather the Stanley Cup playoffs, as John Shannon would berate me for saying NHL playoffs, because that's not what it's called.
Yeah, it is not. It is not. But yeah, I'm excited. This one's going to be fun, though. I'm really excited. I've loved watching Florida this year. I haven't seen as much of Tampa Bay.
They're fun too, man. They're so fun too.
I'm not as familiar. I mean, I love watching Nikita Kucherov do his thing. I mean, he's always a factor. I'm not counting them out, but to me, like, just to get to it, I have Florida in 6, but
that's where I am as well.
I could easily see this one going 7. I don't see it going anything less than that, though, right? Like, I feel like it would be hard to see Vasilevsky either not steal a game in St. Petersburg or wherever the hell Florida plays, whatever town they're in.
Oh, they're in Sunrise,
Florida. That's the one. You've been?
Yeah, I've seen them there. I saw Yager's 650th goal, I think, or 750th goal, something like that.
All right.
But I saw him at his last milestone.
Right on. Yeah, I just don't see it going anything shorter than this, unless Vasilevsky has another playoff where he's kind of a bit of a dud. Like last year against Toronto, he just on paper was not great, but who knows? But yeah, 6 for me. And I think you said you agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it'll be done in 6, and it just comes down to Tampa's not as defensively strong. Florida plays a smothering and a super aggressive style of play, and I just think they're going to be outmatched. But it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited, and this is going to it might be the best series of the entire first round. I think it probably will be, just in terms of like the hatred.
Yes, at least in the East for sure.
Yeah, but it's definitely number 1 for me.
And like Nick Paul versus Nick Cousins. seven straight games of Nick Paul versus Nick Cousins.
That'll be fun, man.